showing off their cast iron waste pipes, the ones that empty toilets, at a recent trade show in Toronto.
From a shipping standpoint, how far does it make sense to ship that to the States?
1,500 miles.
1,500
Van Damme has 3% of the Canadian market, 3% too much to suit McWane. Van Damme officials are so alarmed by McWane tactics that they filed a formal complaint with the Federal Competition Bureau. And even though the Bureau supports them, they're afraid to talk about McWane for fear of getting even more grief. At the McWane booth, you sense the confidence that comes with size. Bibi St. Croix is their largest Canadian plant and has the lion's share of the Canadian market for iron waste pipes.
They do this and then they use that for the vents.
They have their own worries. The competition from plastic pipe is significant, but they dominate a market for iron pipe and assorted connections that is still worth more than $100 million a year in Canada. Money ultimately from the pockets of just about everyone who uses indoor plumbing.
Ultimately, somebody's out in a suburb of Ottawa buying a new house. There's an awful lot of pipe goes into those houses, a lot of vents and so forth. And if and that's all going to be visited in the cost and then ultimately in the price to the consumer of the house. The other side of the coin, if you will, that we're trying to get for Canadians, it's not a stretching of their dollar through competition, it's a shrinking of their dollar through monopoly.
The threat of monopoly is real. The McWane companies have become a dominant force in Canada, and nothing illustrates their power better than the reluctance of people to talk publicly about them.
It's Lyndon McIntyre, the Fifth Estate. Yes, fine, thanks. We talked about the possibility of you doing an interview. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. It's Lyndon McIntyre, the Fifth Estate. You were considering whether or not you wanted to talk to me. I hear you. Bye.
In the months we spent preparing this report, we spoke to dozens of people privately, people with horror stories about working for and against the McWane companies. With few exceptions, people are afraid of their power.
So, there's no chance of you reconsidering? You don't think so? Thank you very much.
Bonsoir, c'est Linda Barry.
One former manager who agreed to speak to us backed out after a late-night call from a McWane lawyer.
No.
Hubert Plouffe is a rare exception. He has a small family-run distribution company in Montreal, a tiny fraction of the business in pipes, valves, and fire hydrants. Even he feels intense pressure from the dominant presence in his field.
It is McWane. And that's the only sources of ductile iron pipe I know.
And he's convinced that American pipe producers already have a tacit understanding that Canada is McWane country, a suspicion he tested at a recent trade show where he approached several McWane competitors with an offer that was too good to refuse, he thought.
And I asked him, do you make some export? Oh yes, they're all excited. And I just made a large job. And I said, that's going to be shipped. And he said, what part of the world? I said, that's going to be in Quebec, Canada. And they all back off.
Really?
Yeah, they said it's too far, they're busy, and...
Sounds to me like the word is out in this industry that McWane's own Canada when it comes to pipe.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Over the course of 8 decades, the McWane family fought its way to prominence in the iron pipe business in North America. They run $1.5 billion a year empire with plants in 10 states and 2 provinces. This is the family home high above Birmingham. One of the wealthiest families in the South, they own their own bank, give generously to civic projects, and guard their privacy obsessively. Even when they're giving away large amounts of money, they tend to let other people enjoy the attention. We went to the Birmingham Art Gallery in October for one of their recent public initiatives. Local patrons of the arts were here to see the results of a $2 million gift to help refurbish a civic emblem. a 20-meter-high statue of the Roman fire god Vulcan. Given the generosity of the gift, there was a remote chance someone named McWane would show up. Director of the Vulcan Restoration Project, Catherine Billmeyer.
The McWane family stepped forward and made a $2 million challenge grant to the citizens of Birmingham to actually get our city symbol restored. So it wouldn't have happened without them.
Philip McWane, the head of the family-owned business, is the guy on the left. This was the only Philip McWane photo we could find. As we'd soon find out, even if he showed up, few would have recognized him.
I've met him once or twice, so I'm embarrassed. Which one is it?
Actually, I don't think I could. No.
No? Let me see. Oh, that's him right there.
Ah, okay.
Which one is the McWane?
Don't know, haven't the faintest idea.
There, now, but they're very big around here, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, and they have done wonderful things for the city. They are a family which has returned 1,000-fold everything they ever
That's
gained
what I
from
hear.
it. They're just wonderful people.
That may well be the majority opinion, but it isn't the only one.
Our attitude is fuck you, basically. You know, our situation is, you know, we were here a long time ago. You all don't matter, because the only thing that matters to us is making a profit.
Bart Slauson is a Birmingham lawyer, one of the few people around here who took on McWane and won. For him, the issue was pollution. Until a few years ago, people accepted the cloud of smoke and dust obscuring the skies over Birmingham as the price of progress. Slauson became convinced it was a crime and that one of the worst perpetrators was the McWane Foundry. He soon discovered he wasn't the only one in Birmingham concerned about pollution.
I got asked to look into it, and I did, and I found this long line of air pollution violations. So I wrote them a 60-day notice that said, under the Clean Air Act, in 60 days we're going to sue you for several $1 million for violating your air permit and polluting the air in that area.
It didn't take long to get results. In a letter to us, McWane pointed out that in 2002, McWane Pipe in Birmingham brought a new air pollution control system online at a cost in excess of $5.2 million. But by then, environmentalists realized that air pollution wasn't the only problem.
Well, apparently they were dumping, you know, pollution from their processed wastewater and runoff from the plant into basically a pipe that ran into Village Creek, an illegal discharge of polluted water.
Come on up, Bob.
When we come back, we find a whistleblower in jail.
That's when I realized what the magnitude of what was going on was. When he said that thing, he just looked at me and said, shh.
And now we return to the Fifth Estate and a special inquiry with the New York Times and PBS Frontline.
An iron foundry like the McWane plant in Birmingham uses vast quantities of water. Wastewater contains oil, silica, and heavy metals. U.S. law requires that it be collected in holding ponds, then treated and recycled. But what happens when holding ponds become full? According to the former McWane manager, Robert Rester, you break the law with a little help from Mother Nature.
Anytime there was excess oil or something in there, they would wait till a big storm or something come along, then go out there and open that up. And then that way the storm water and all would just flush the oil and everything all out at one time in the middle of the night or whatever. And
did that happen when you were the plant manager?
Yes.
More than once?
Yes.
The problem wasn't just in Alabama. The Delaware River flows by Phillipsburg, New Jersey, a reminder of a far-off time when America was mostly rural and pristine. Reality intruded here on the morning of December 5th, 1999, in the form of an oily sheen on the river. It grew into an oil slick 8 miles long. Investigators were pretty sure they found the source, Atlantic States Foundry, a pipe plant owned by the McWane Corporation, but they couldn't prove it. To dispose of the case, the company paid $50,000 to an environmental group, but we found